1. But at the time, I didn't envision the words PH 1. When I returned from that dream vision, I thought on it more, and that's how the current spelling of Phase 1 came to life. From there, the acronym was born also, and it wouldn't be until much later down the line that I would come to realize that the word phase was so close, phonetically speaking, to the word faisal, an Arabic word and name meaning judge, resolute, sword. Faisal was also the name of the first teacher of the master teacher, who was called Malachi York, Imam Isa, Baba Yanun, Amunubi Re Akta, and many other names. His first teacher's name was Dawood Faisal, respectfully addressed as Sheikh Dawood Faisal. Now, as a student of the master teacher, I bear similar tones, Faisal. The first shall be last, and the last shall be first. I am the last. I am also the sword, the separator of the sheep from the goats. Matthew 25:32-46. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. This world is changed every time I breathe in and out. This is true for you, reader, as well. It is only in the moment that you realize it that you will truly be charged to breathe and live more intently. It has been said that the sky is the limit. This couldn't be further from the truth. There is no limit whatsoever to what you are able to dream, pray, or visualize. As we are coming out of the darkness, let us visualize a world of order. Let us bring on the most powerful occurrence of a harmonic convergence that this world has ever bore witness to. This is why I'm here. I am Omari Shaman Hargrove, called Phase 1. I'm here to help. Regardless of whoever and wherever you are, I ask that you will allow for me to take a moment to speak a prayer, an affirmation, a good word of life over you. I ask that you receive this prayer, affirmation, good word, with love and compassion. You are my earth family, and as we are so young, yet so ancient, this journey has been challenging for us all. I love you all, and I wish deeply that we had more time to learn and understand each other as we are and as we grow. However, life is fast, and we haven't the time we even perceive that we have. So with this prayer, I encourage you, Earth family. Hear these following words in your mind and know that they are charged with as much love as I am able to carry. Our Father, our Mother, our Divine, our Great Unknown, our Creator, our Universe, our Star Family, our Ancestors, our God, who art spread out about the boundless universes, multiverses, superverses, ultraverses, and beyond, which are the metaverses. Hear our soul cry. Our soul cry is not a cry of sorrow alone, but a cry of curiosity and wonder. Our soul cry is a cry of pain and love and joy and hurt and dismay and excitement. Our soul cry is a cry of power and shame and redemption and exploration. Our soul cry reaches out to the highest heavens we know and to the deepest hells below. May there come a time when those polarized tears come to make peaceful war with one another. May the inner struggle or jihad be resolved ever swiftly. Let the hearts of the world be refined, and let the waters of our thoughts be distilled. We cannot say we knew not, truthfully. We did know, but we did not act as if we knew. Let the days of negligence and ignorance seep up into the depths of a fleeting time span, called no longer. May we be charged with the power of responsibility and accountability as we progress and as we proceed to become better and stronger and wiser, now and for generations to come. Let us remember how to love again. Surely we have forgotten. Let us remember how to care again. Surely we have forgotten. Let us remember how to be grateful again. Surely we have forgotten. Keep us in mind as we are only children. Spare the rod, but don't spare us the consequences, as we too must learn through trial and error. With that trial, be just, and keep us in mind as we are still young. With that error, correct us, and keep us in mind as we are still youthful. We lost our way, yet we can be found. Let the light shine on our souls again and forevermore. If it's our pride that keeps us away from you, take it away, or show us how to cast it out. If it's our envy that keeps us away from you, take it away, or show us how to cast it out. If it's our wrath that keeps us away from you, take it away, or show us how to cast it out. If it's our greed that keeps us away from you, take it away, or show us how to cast it out. If it's our gluttony that keeps us away from you, take it away, or show us how to cast it out. If it's our laziness that keeps us away from you, take it away, or show us how to cast it out. If it's our lust that keeps us away from you, take it away, or show us how to cast it out. We have the will to return to the light. We have the will, and there must also be a way. Help us to overstand still that there are many paths that lead to home. Help us to see each other as one big family. We may not always agree on the ideas and concepts of this world and beyond, but let us still feed one another. Let us still provide water for one another. Let us still provide shelter for one another. We are so thankful for this opportunity to breathe in this moment that all of these things are becoming reality as we hear these words echo in our minds. Thank you, God, in all names we call of beings whom we know not, yet we feel a connection to. Remind us, if you are there, keep us in mind, we are only children. We love you. I love you. Let this moment give birth to a new life. Allow us exodus from the darkness into the light. Amen, Amun. So mote it be. And so with that being projected, reader, I am exceedingly excited to inform you, more so, remind you, that the greatly anticipated time or era or world of change is no longer on its way. Truly I say to you that it has arrived. The late artist known as Sam Cooke sent out the message back in 1964 that there would come about a change eventually in his song, A Change Is Gonna Come. That song was on his album called Ain't That Good News? The answer to that question is yes, indeed, as we are in the days of revelation, where all things are come to the light, which is the true light. It's beyond that time for all to hear this announcement, this message of life, as opposed to death. I say message of life to pull out of the mud the word evangel. This word is used interchangeably with the word gospel, etymologically meaning good news, and the word evangel has two words in it. Can you spot them? Those two words are the words Eve and angel. I mean, Eve meaning life and angel meaning messenger, Greek word angelos. The word evangel is also similar phonetically to the Arabic word Injil, also meaning the gospel. And so, as we are indeed in that day or time period of revelation, the change in light is good news. Prior to, this world has been subject to complete and utter chaos for ages upon ages, within a great age called the Age of Darkness. Throughout the Age of Darkness, meaning the time period where the mystery of God, or the sciences, or the universe had been hidden away from mankind, as chaos erupted in the earth realm, human beings worldwide had been living in a state of confusion. The whole of the world became Babylon long ago. When you see the word Babylon, I want you to recall the story of the Tower of Babel. In that story, in the book of Genesis, chapter 11, there were human beings who built a tower or a gate that was able to reach up to the heavens or simply reach God or the realm in which God exists in heaven, modernly referred to as outer space. God didn't approve of this advancement in technology and came down unto the earth, scattering those people about the earth realm, confounding their tongues that they would not be able to comprehend each other. Confusion. This is what the word Babel means in essence. To babble is to speak in a manner that is incomprehensible. The city was called Babel because of that same reason. Babel, or Balal in Hebrew, means to confuse or to jumble. You can read that in the book of Genesis, chapter 11, verse 9. Therefore, is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the languages of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. This shows the whole of the story is speaking of something that took place that caused for an age of confusion to emerge, an age of darkness, as darkness also means a state of unknowing or a state of confusion. If someone is kept in the dark about something, they won't know of its origins, or what it is, or what it means, or what it can do, or why it exists to begin with, or how it works. They'll be confused or clueless when it comes to these things. If and or when someone comes along with the true light and exposes them to it, they'll be able to fully understand that something. They'll figure out the answers to the questions they may have had about that thing, and they'll be able to sum up all those figures of that something. They will no longer be in the dark. Whoever this God is that is being spoken of was for the confusion of the people. When people speak of God, they usually associate that word with a characteristic or a quality of a specific being that is good. God, however, is only a word, and that word doesn't mean good. It's merely a word that describes a being that is revered, or a being that is relatively more powerful than others, or a being that is of a higher status than others. That being could be good or evil, or both good and evil. So think deeply about this following question. What God would advocate for, induce, or cause confusion? What God wants the earth realm to be in a state of darkness, because that state of darkness allows for human beings to be trapped and enslaved, never developing or evolving into the gods they are capable of developing or evolving into. What God is the God of or the author of confusion? Does there exist such a God? That question brings us back around to the word Babylon. There's a code hidden within that word. I am saying to you that the whole of the word became Babylon. It was not merely a specific place on earth, but the whole of the earth worldwide. This is because the world was ruled by that exact God of question. That God is mentioned in 2 Corinthians 4:4. And even if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. The God of this age world has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel or the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. When you see the word age, think of the Hebrew word olam, which means world, and also means eon, or age, or time period. Alam means hidden or concealed, as in darkness. Can you see the code? The age of darkness was the age of concealment. That's the age or the world being mentioned in that scripture, 2 Corinthians 4:4. And also in the book of John 14:30. Hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh and hath nothing in me. This God or prince or El is none other than Satan, the adversary or the opposition. This world has been overseen by him, them. They have their tower set up on the earth called Tiamat or Gaia or Eridu or Ar or Edenu or Ki. Now look again at the word Babylon. The code hidden there is decrypted when you separate the words in tone. Babylon, Bab, Elon. Bab is one of the names of that prince or god of darkness called Satan, also called Set. Set is the god of violence, chaos, disorder, and confusion. Although depicted as the one who spears Apep, the serpent, in ancient Egyptian, both Set and Apep are agents of chaos. The allegorical extraction is that Set or Satan oppose the true life or the order. They disturb the peace. Elon or Elon in Hebrew means oak tree, or simply tree, which is symbolic of a tower, as in the Tower of Babel. Does not the word or the name Elon ring a bell? There is a being here moving in those tones called Elon Musk. This man, Elon, is known for his project called SpaceX, dealing with production, testing, and the launching of rockets or towers that sit up on the earth with the ability to reach God or the heavens or outer space, just as it was mentioned in the book of Genesis chapter 11 verse 4. Genesis chapter 11 verse 4. And they said, "Go to, and let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach into heaven." Let's do another breakdown, build-up of the word Babylon. This time, we're going to take this word Babylon, and we're going to flip the second letter B upside down. Babylon, Ba-pylon, Bab-pylon, Bab, Set, Seti, Satan, Seth, Sina, Zeta, Zuin, Suin, pylon, a tower. That word pylon refers to the ancient Egyptian gateways that led into the sacred temples. The etymology of the word pylon brings us to the word pulon or pule, which means gate. It is no coincidence at all that the word Babylon itself ties you etymologically to the word Babylon, and that word means gate of God. No coincidence, only connectivity. All things are connected, and so there it is. The world or age of darkness has come and went. Bob or Set or Satan has his pylon or his tower or his gate set up on the earth in the world age of darkness. This year 1 AD came in with the announcement of the last days of the moon cycle. Set appears in Greek as Seth. Although those are Greek letters, you can see the word one if you flip that Greek word eno around. The year 1 AD marks the beginning of the end of one's or Eno's rule, the beginning or the end of one's age of darkness or AD. Of course, AD is actually said to be an abbreviation of Anno Domini, meaning the year of our Lord. There are two things to read and understand about that. One is that the Anno Domini phonetically sounds like a new dominion, as in a new rulership or authority. If we spell it out as Anu Dominion, we can see another code that hints toward what type of dominion we're heading toward after the fall of the moon. Anu is the Sumerian word for sky, or the heavens, and it is also the Sanskrit word for after. So with the hereafter, the world that exists here after the fall of Babylon, comes the dominion of the sky, or Anu, which is a new dominion. Remember the prayer from the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. That prayer was to be answered in the book of Revelation, chapter 21. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. God, or Anu, comes in with a new, dominion, after the fall of Babylon, or Bab's pylon, or Bab's gate or tower. Tower as in kingdom, gate as in time period. AD was a gate to a new world being announced, in the realm as the old was falling away. The old world order, which is the order of darkness, has passed away. This is why there is so much talk of a new world order. Don't be fooled, however, into thinking that a new world order has to be a bad thing. Just look at the words. A new world order, Anu world order, sky world order, cosmic world order, heavenly world order. This idea of a new world order is actually what people have been praying for throughout the ages within the age of darkness. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. The challenge is to get the people to understand that we have the power to usher in our new world order. We can take the so-called elites plan for their NWO and reverse it, flip it around. That NWO becomes our OWN, own. It's imperative that we, the people, aren't fooled into thinking that these so-called elites who follow the other L or the other god, gods, or goddess, goddesses are the only ones who can bring in a new world order. The organizational aspect of the New World Order concerns invested families who have planned for over a century to take over the world. You can find people like Adolf Hitler connecting the words New World Order to Nazism, which is basically rearranged occultism. From these ideas was born the idea of world domination and population control. Whenever people think of the latter, they may have in their minds a thought of depopulation and or genocide. I offer that you look at the words population control and see that it is saying in the words exactly what is meant by the words. Population control is about herding the populations of people into one way of living until those populations become a single population under the control of the God of darkness. Being that this New World Order, as an organization and as a dominion, has been taught about for decades, people have developed their own theories as to its origins and its plans. The theories are all over the place, yet they are still on point to a certain degree. Like when it comes to the mysterious Georgia Guidestones that were created in 1980 by R.C. Christian, a secret person or persons. On those Guidestones appeared a message written in 8 different languages: English, Hebrew, Arabic, Russian, Hindi, Spanish, Swahili, and traditional Chinese. That message was formulated in a similar manner to that of the Old Testament's 10 Commandments and was referred to as the 10 Principles. I'm saying was because as of July of 2022, after they were attacked via explosives, they are no longer standing, as even though only one of the stones was destroyed by the blast, the GBI still had them torn down completely. They said they did it for safety reasons, and so the 10 principles were laid out as follows. Maintain humanity under 5 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Of all of these principles that seemingly foreshadow an apocalypse, yielding a post-apocalyptic world, most people only quote the first principle and use that first principle to help express their concerns and theories of depopulation. The only thing about that is the words were to maintain a population of 5 million. The words were not to get the population down to 5 million. This doesn't rule out the possibility of what people assume to be a diabolical global genocidal plan being developed and implemented behind the scenes. However, this message seems more of a message of reason and what to do after an apocalyptic event took place and how to avoid taking the pathway that led to destruction altogether for future references. This message was misconstrued. And so, when the stones were destroyed, people celebrated, especially the religious people, as they thought that event to be a sign from God. It is my foreknowledge and intuition that leads me to realize that they are sadly mistaken. It may have very well been the other way around, being that the capstone that rested on the top of the slabs read, "Let these be guide stones to an age of reason." Re-a-son. The point here is the people or person who constructed the stones were speaking to the future. These were not members of the Illuminati or the elite Satanists. These were people, or was a person, who wanted there to be a guide for the meek who would presumably inherit the earth, post-apocalyptic. This would not be the works of one who believed in the New World Order, as it has been presented. That's an order, one built on disorder, that will benefit the elite and the elite only. R.C. Christian was a Christian, not a Satanist. He believed in the order of Christ, who came after the order of Melchizedek, whose order was fixated on righteousness and justice, or order as opposed to disorder. Do understand that when it comes to this reality, there are two masters, two forces, or two Els or Elis. One Eli is the lamb, and the other Eli is the goat. This gem shows up in the biblical scripture in the book of Matthew, chapter 27, verses 45 and 46, where the one called Jesus, or Yeshua, or Jehovah, or Elias, or Isa, was said to have cried out, quoting Psalms chapter 22, verse 1, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. And so I'm revealing to you that which was revealed to me in spirit, that the Eli, Eli is there to connect that reality of those two forces or two gods, as in two different Elis. Those two Elis are the Lamb, Lama, and the Sabak, Sabachthani. You will find Sabak in the movie Black Adam. In that movie, there were two sides fighting over what was called the crown of Sabak. This is similar to the concept of the beings called the Transformers from the Transformers franchise, fighting over the Allspark. Take note of this verse from the Holy Quran. And when the world is fulfilled against them, the unjust, we shall produce from the earth a beast to face them. He will speak to them, for that mankind did not believe with assurance in our signs. Quran 27:82. I have explained before that the Quran and the science within it is the crown. That Quran, crown, possesses the code. When you think in terms of the crown or the kron, which is the Greek word for the god of time, you are brought to the word corona, accompanied by the secret sacred number of the Quran, which is the number 19. There appears the code, Corona 19, Corona, Coron, Quran, Quran, crown, kron. Yes, the secret sacred number of the Quran is literally 19. They, the elite, gave you that program. And in the 74th chapter of the Quran, which was called the Hidden Secret, it was already laid out for you to figure out. The message was, over it is 19. So that 19, which many people have linked to be AI, being that the letter A equals 1 and the letter I, 9, is the mark of a very important time period. This mark appeared in association with the mark of the beast to let you know what was coming, the war to raise up the fallen. They, the gods or the angels who wanted to help the human beings, came through and gave people signs through people like Prophet Muhammad, or through Krishna, or through Jesus. Yet it was also said that people wouldn't listen. It was already written that people would ignore all the signs. So now Sabak and his fleet of Nephilim are moving heavier. They're sending out their soldiers first. Those soldiers are responsible for affecting the frequencies or the consciousness of the human beings as their elites are preparing to bring hell or Hades to the surface. What a time to be alive. If you have been watching, you may have noticed that ever since the music industry started to lose pillars back to back over those past few years, since 2019, 2020, artists with more positively charged messages like Tim's and Iniko have risen up in the algorithm. You may or may not remember yet, it is still a fact that I uttered the prophecy back in 2020 and said that after a great group of stars fell, after a great group of pillars collapsed, after a great group of celebrities fell, other pillars of light would rise up to assist the efforts of rectification, and then the pillar of Phase One would rise up in the east. Tim's and Iniko were two examples of pillars that rose up with messages and tones of enlightenment. You can read the realm, as I have taught you how to in my other books and teachings and songs, and you can see when and why these two pillars rose up. These two artists were sending out messages dealing with the time we're in, where there's evidently a spiritual war taking place. Thames, the name, brings you to the word tempest, which is the Latin word for time. Iniko, the name, means the time of trouble. About a month after Anika released the MP3 for the viral song King's Affirmation, the rapper called Trouble was killed by a man named Jamichael. I want you to look closer at the name of the murderer. Jah plus Michael. Jah equals God. Michael equals one who is like God. That name Michael is the name of a warring angel that is mentioned in the book of Revelation. He and his fleet of angels warred with and are set to war with Satan, the dragon, Tanin, that old serpent called the devil. Revelation 12, chapters 7 through 9. Now let's break down the name of the rapper who was slain. Trouble's real name, Mariel, star of the sea, the starfish, the five-pointed star of the sea, Leviathan, the sea serpent, Samante, Semen, seaman, and that seaman or sea monster is called Leviathan. Job 4:1, 4 plus 1 equals 5, and is allegorically identified as the light being of the morning. Or, the word or means dark, pale, or the lesser light, as the Hebrew word or with an H actually means light. The song Wait For You by Future and Drake, featuring the sampled vocals of Tim's Tempest, came out May 3rd, 2022, and Trouble was killed on June 5th, 2022, only a month later. Do you think all of this is a coincidence? Eniko released the song King's Affirmation as an actual recording on April 29th of 2022, days before the release of the song Wait For You. Those 3 months were literally the Eniko, the time of trouble. Waiting for someone is also something that is done with respects to the consideration or observation of time. This is the same message I've been sending out, telling those of you who have walked with me thus far, as I am still here in the flesh, that I won't be able to stay here, and I've been waiting for you. Can you see me on the edge? I'm enlightened. Lyrics from Tim's song Higher. In both the King's Affirmation song and the Higher song, there's a message of enlightenment, an announcement of a new frequency coming forth by day, which is the sun, the greater light, not the night, the moon, the lesser light. The song Higher makes mention of time and war and the trumpet being blown, waking the broken ears up to the day and time we're in, as that Trump was literally leaving the office. That Trump was Donald Trump, who was in office from the year 2016 to the year 2020. That song came out in 2020, which was widely understood to be the year of revelation, the year when the 19 arose to the crown, further confirming the hidden secret of the Quran called Quran Code 19, which deals with the surge of enlightenment, the evolutionary explosion that turns human being into a superhuman being, or simply a superhuman being. And so it played out. Future and Drake collaborated on that song called Mention, Wait For You. But they completely perverted and corrupted the message of the original song, which was entitled Higher for a sole reason, and took people from the crown, the higher point, all the way down into the root. This comes as no surprise, being that Future identifies with, and he represents for, the low life, and Drake identifies with, and he represents for the sixth God, not the nine. This collaboration project and its product was, in fact, literally an attack on the higher frequency, an attack via music, magic. Trust me, I know magic when I see it. The concept goes from the high vibe, speaking of the urgency of waking up from a sleep state and realizing the day and time we're in and taking action, to the low vibe, speaking on doing drugs, popping pills, being drunk, or in an intoxicated state of mind. They even went as far as opening up the music video, which literally took place in the Dark Ages, the Age of Darkness, with a book entitled The Tale of the Toxic King. In that music video, they highlighted and put much emphasis on the queen, which is actually phonetically queen, which means prostitute. Take a note to remind yourself to go back and read the book of Revelation chapter 17. Revelation chapter 17. And you'll see how the toxicity is of the beast and the whore, also called the prostitute. The original brown-skinned female woman artist Tim's is nowhere to be seen in the music video, and that feminine image is replaced with an image likened unto a Caucasoid female or woman. That woman was also draped in the garment of the medieval kingdoms. Their song and video emitted the frequencies of the Dark Ages, the Knights Templar, the Setites. The reference to the early morning or the late at night, which is Lucifer, the morning star, or Halai, or Hallel, or Bab, or Babel, or Baphomet, or Set. Keep in mind that Set, being the ancient Egyptian god of confusion, bears the same tones that are used to describe in English the action of the sun going down. This is when the sun sets and nighttime ensues. Can you see the connection of that which is referred to as nighttime to that which is referred to as the Knights Templar? Remember, Thames tied to tempest, which means time, and the word night is phonetically equivalent to the word night with a K. Night, night. Templar, tempest, time. Nighttime is the time of the moon, or luna, the age of concealment. That cycle has ended. This is the sun cycle. This is the time of enlightenment. To all of you who have it already made up in your minds and written in your essences to wake up the masses via your art, please do not forget that this music industry is full of wicked, low-life Wiccans and witches and warlocks who worship the six ether frequencies. They are in no way, shape, form, or fashion on your side. They've already chosen who they will work for and who they will worship. Do not forget that these are Baphomet's soldiers and agents. These are demonic beings that are disguised as human beings. They only care about themselves, not the masses. And we, the people, have to be united in our efforts of discontinuing and reversing our acceptance of their states or statuses, from murder culture to drill culture to promiscuity culture, and so on. They, the celebrities, are the stars or the gods or the idols that you were warned not to worship. Remember, reader, Earth family of mind, there is a war on consciousness. Walk away from the God of this world and come back into the God of the soul. It is that time again. Think back to the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9 of the Bible, and remember that 6-9 is that polarized sacred number. Refer to Who Knows the Secrets book by Faise One. Matthew chapter 6, verse 9 through 13, King James Version. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory, forever. Amen. Those verses were about reaching out to those celestial or heavenly beings called God or gods or Elohim or extraterrestrials. And the prayer was saying for God from above, which is the sky, which is Anu, to bring your kingdom to earth. This lets you see that this world was not under the control of or under the rulership of God, as most people may know or believe that God to be. That means that up to right now, those people who people think of as God don't run this world. The God of the world, even according to 2 Corinthians 4 and 4. 2 Corinthians 4 and 4, New International Version. The God of this world, age, as I mentioned earlier on, has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. Is Shaitan, or Satan, meaning beings who oppose the so-called natural order and therefore allow their animalistic nature to take over them. Their lust for power took them over. They are the powers and principalities and rulers and gods of this world. Those beings are the Decepticons from the Transformers movie we spoke about. Why do you think they're called the Decepticons? It's because those heavenly beings are at war. Michael and his angels, and Satan and his angels, and that dragon, that old serpent called the devil, has deceived the whole world. Deception, deception, Decepticon, decept icons. Those are the Ra'ah, the disagreeable beings, and they war with the Autobots, or the all-agreeable beings. Au, all. Tabat, tov, agreeable. The Hebrew word for agreeable or good is tov. Take heed that no man or being beyond a man human deceive you. Beware, earth family, of the deceivers. Baal, Baphomet, Molech, Satan, Iblis, Tanin, Tarnush. Baal, which is Baal, is only one of the names for one of the extraterrestrial forces that were observed, according to the records, by those who are now called the Canaanites. If you were to say the word Ba in Hebrew, you'd be speaking about an arrival, or you'd be saying something or someone is coming. For example, if I were to say Ba Tanin, Tanin being the dragon, I'd be saying Tanin is coming. That could be either an observation or a prophecy. It could be saying Tanin is coming to say that I can literally look out and see him, or them, the dragon fleet, or the serpent fleet, approaching in real time. Or I can say Ba Tanin to say that this being will be coming eventually. Recall the Bugs Life movie. Bugs Life equals B plus L. Sound out those letters and you will hear the name B-L, Beal, which is short for Beelzebub, also Baalzebub, meaning the Lord, God, King of the flies, crickets, those who can fly. In that movie, the ant people or the human beings had to prepare offerings for the cricket people, the fallen angels. The cricket people were beings who had the ability to fly and required a sacrifice or offering. They would travel from afar to come to collect that offering and sacrifice from the ant people. Often when people speak in terms of sacrifices and offerings, they're only speaking on it from a ritualistic perspective. When people burn offerings on their altars, or when people lay out food for the spirits, gods, ancestors, a lot of that is just ritualistic practice. The actual people from these stories, like the biblical Canaanite story, who were worshiping gods like Baal, were literally sacrificing people, even their children. Deuteronomy 12:31. You must not worship the Lord your God in their way, because in worshiping their gods, they do all kinds of detestable things the Lord hates. They even burn their sons and daughters in the fire as sacrifices to their gods. Psalms 106:37. They sacrificed their sons and their daughters to false gods. They shed innocent blood, the blood of their sons and daughters, whom they sacrificed to the idols of Canaan, and the Lord was desecrated by their blood. Leviticus 20. The Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, any Israelite or any foreigner residing in Israel who sacrifices any of his children to Molech is to be put to death. The members of the community are to stone him. I myself will set my face against him and will cut him off from his people, for by sacrificing his children to Molech he has defiled my sanctuary and profaned my holy name. If the members of the community close their eyes when that man sacrifices one of his children to Molech, and if they fail to put him to death, I myself will set my face against him and his family, and will cut them off from their people, together with all who follow him in prostituting themselves to Molech. So they, those people like the Canaanites, would sacrifice human beings to these otherworldly beings who devoured those people. These were flesh-eating human beings. Some of them were documented as giants. If you ever open the Book of Giants, you'll read about those types of beings who were hunting and killing the inhabitants of the planet Earth, which was called Eridu or Tiamat, and they'd use them for food. So just as the ants from the Bugs Life movie knew that those flying winged beings would come again and again, you could even look at the name or the description of Bao to let you know what was actually happening, and that it was not just some random name of some random being. Where does the image of the cricket come in as it pertains to the Bugs Life movie? Like the crickets, you can find depictions of Baal with wings. The same goes for Baphomet. This is also similar to the Ba from ancient Kemet that was also depicted with wings. When people see wings, they automatically assume that there is to be realized about some type of flight ability. That flight ability would mean the ability to travel in the air or even in Shamayim, the heavens. This phenomenon was recorded in many ancient stories, yet I tell you that it is still a present-day phenomenon. Baal is still coming, meaning they still travel around and abduct people. They abduct children. People go missing, and their loved ones and friends will never hear from them again. This is what was happening in Nome, Alaska, where there were so many odd disappearances, and to this day those cases remain unsolved and unexplained. The authorities couldn't figure it out. They made a documentary on it. It was called The Fourth Kind. During that documentary, the audience is shown camera footage that shows that those beings were able to come and take children, and that based on the descriptions given by the people affected by those events, those beings are not just some beings flying around with wings like the commercialized depictions of angels. This is because even the ancient descriptions or depictions of wings often meant that they could fly, but those ancient people were not familiar with the advanced technologies called spaceships or aircrafts, etc. Baal, Moloch, Baphomet, Lucifer, Azazel. These are the Decepticons, or the Ra'ah, or the disagreeables, sometimes referred to as the cherubs or cherubim. These were all beings who fell in the category of what was called the owl people because they could fly, and they literally resembled owls as far as their eyes being larger than human eyes and their heads being larger than human heads. Think of the owl statue that sits at the Air Force Base disguised as a cult meeting place, like what Alex Jones had everybody believing. Refer to How to Speak Elite book by Faise One. That owl that most people say is Moloch or Molech or MLK. MLK is a word that means ruler. Baal also means ruler or lord or king. And if you say Baal out loud, you can hear the word owl hidden in the tone. Was also mentioned in the Fourth Kind documentary. When they put those victims under hypnosis or hypnotic regression to see why they were having all of these experiences and nightmares, which were expressed as these memories of some owl beings outside their window or in the room with them, it was found out that all of those people were having a certain realization that they, the beings from their nightmares and experiences, weren't just owls, they were extraterrestrial beings. Do note that these same beings were said in the documentary to speak an ancient Sumerian language, and that the gods were also documented in the ancient Sumerian stories. These gods were different rulers or overseers of the many projects and operations on planet Earth concerning the affairs of both the human beings and the gods. These are the rulers. So think about the people who were associated with or grouped in with QAnon. What were they often speaking about? Child sacrifice, child trafficking, child consumption, adrenochrome. Here is the code of QAnon. If you speak into the word itself and read it as it's spelled, Quanon is the word Kanan, like the Canaan word that meant rule. It has always been about rulership. That's what this is all about. Canaan Kabal, the rulership of Canaan or Canaan. These government officials also worship Baal, or the owl being, and they are all satanic. What a time to be alive, you and yours versus me and mine. Those are the lyrics of the Draconian resonating artist called Drake, who literally gives all praises to the sixth god, which is Baphomet. When you say 6 and 9, or the yin and yang, you're saying the dark and light. Yamaya or Yarawa Shamash, the moon and the sun. However, the Baphomet emblem or symbol is not the representation of the moon and the sun. It's the moon only, the lesser light, the six only. Anytime there exists a realm that becomes overrun by the six ether forces only, those forces dominate, and eventually you do not have balance. You do not have order. You have disorder. So think of what image the one called Drake pushes out to the world. It's the same image of Moloch or Baal, the owl. It appears as the OVO, letters set in place to reveal the face of an owl. So this war is God versus the devil. That is just the simplest way to put it. Because there are some who see what's happening on the planet from outside of your atmosphere, that see that there's evil here. And they love certain messages like they did with the crop circle that was translated with some type of encryption via the binary code. And they said, beware of the false gifts that certain beings brought or would be bringing. There's a photo of the crop circle with the encrypted message from Sheboygan, UK, 2002. This one is one of the most fascinating out there. It reveals an alien face as well as a coded message. After much time was spent on decoding the message, the following statement was revealed. Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Damaged word. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing. Bell sound. They also said, believe that there is good out there, as in outer space or the heavens. Not all of these beings agree with how this ship is being ruled. Human beings are living in a form. The harvest is you and your children, called your seed. There has been a war concerning that for the longest. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming. Fear not, though. Change is here now. One thing I had to learn and come to understand is that it takes time for people to catch up to even what is right in front of them sometimes. I'm waiting for them, and I will wait as long as I'm able to. But all they have to do is read the realm. All you, reader, have to do is read the realm that you're in. Read the world around you. Ikra was the first word they gave unto Al-Nabi Rasul Allah Muhammad Talalu Alayhi Wasalam. Ikra, read Muhammad, read so that you may come out of the darkness into the light. This message has been echoing throughout the boundless universe. Can't you hear the call? Are you of the knowing? Think back to or go and research the moment that Kanye, now called Ye, started a ripple through the realm on October 3rd. 2022, when he first emerged with the White Lives Matter shirt, the whole of the internet and its algorithm stopped and readjusted. Just about everybody started making rooms on the Clubhouse app about him. Just about everybody started making Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube posts about him. There were all kinds of spoken word pieces about him. There were all kinds of reaction videos about him. Just about everybody was teaming up against one person. And it was all because of a shirt they didn't agree with. A shirt. During that explosion, I told people to be sure that they pay attention. I let it be known that Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, was exposing people. It's been loud ever since October 3rd, leading up to the takeoff algorithm, where people took their focus off of Ye for a while and they started admitting to the fact that drill music is destructive and that the music industry is promoting the violent atmosphere that people are falling victim to. It took for all of these rappers, including Takeoff, to fall for the masses and celebrities to even begin to admit that the drill culture is a problem. Murder culture is a problem. The masses joined in on that conversation, finally. Then Ye brought that attention back to the beast itself by telling people that his mom was sacrificed and that other celebrities' loved ones suffered the same fate. That was coming from somebody that had been operating in the industry for over a decade, who had stepped into the devil's den, and people still mocked him. They accused him of sacrificing his own mother. They tried to shut him down. They tried to silence him. He was already taken off of the social media platforms, so he couldn't hold up the algorithm he couldn't hold up the algorithm how he was holding it up because it was clear that every time he posted something, it went viral. It didn't matter what it was. People started protesting him even being posted, meaning they wanted people to stop posting him. The whole world was locked in on one person, and most of the world was attacking that one person. They used every celebrity they could, from Boosie to Shaq to Michael Rappaport. They attacked him, and the masses of people watched him get crucified. People clawed at him. People threw stones at him. People laughed at him. People celebrated when they took huge amounts of his money from him. When George Floyd's family attacked him, people celebrated. He was called anti-black and a black Nazi by Caucasian people, and the so-called black community allowed it. Does not this sound familiar? Ye spoke on his own children and how he didn't want them to be sexualized around people like Pete Davidson, who would do things like dress inappropriately around them. People laughed at him. If you weren't able to look at Pete Davidson and tell there's something twisted about that man, then I'm not sure what to tell you. But you, reader, wouldn't let Pete Davidson near your children. They used his children to taunt him. They would have him thinking that his children were going to be somewhere, and they would switch up the location at the last minute without telling him. According to Ye, this made his children think he didn't want to see them. They threatened to take his children away from him. He tried to let the people know it was happening, and what did the people do? They mocked him. They raised their fists and screamed, "Crucify him!" Over and over again, he spoke on how he was concerned about his children, and nobody stepped up to help him or support him. The people stepped out to support those who identify explicitly as Jews because their feelings were supposedly hurt about things that Ye said, and those things were taken completely out of context, like the controversial DEFCON tweet. The tweet reads, "I'm a bit sleepy tonight, but when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The funny thing is, I actually can't be anti-Semitic because black people are actually Jew also. You guys have toyed with me and tried to blackball anyone who ever opposes your agenda." As soon as the tweet posted, it went viral. The MSM, mainstream media, rushed to make sure the focus was on the words DEFCON. I stepped out to clear up the confusion. I explained that the phrase "Death Con" had to be some sort of spelling error because there simply is no such thing as Death Con. There is, however, such a thing as Def Con, which is a type of defense mechanism. It is not used for offense. So their arguments that this was a threat were empty. Still, people began comparing it to Hitler for speaking about what everybody knows is going on, but they mostly try to act like it isn't happening. As all of that played out, Balenciaga dropped the ad where they showed these children surrounded by BDSM objects, wine glasses, holding stuffed animals with panda eyes, dark circles around the eyes that suggest the child has been sodomized, and BDSM attire on, and they only ran with certain photos. By the way, so most people probably only saw the two photos that were pushed everywhere, but there were some photos where one of the little girls was laid out on her stomach with a stuffed animal sitting next to her on a couch. This was something you'd only expect to see from an adult photo shoot. Yet there was no outrage, not even nearly the amount of pushback that was applied in the direction of one man about a shirt. Anybody who spoke on it from the celebrity orientation might as well have been speaking on mute, as they said nothing. T.I. said he had to go and research it some more, as if he had to make some type of educated decision on how to feel about children being sexually exploited. Kim Kardashian basically said she wanted to hear their side of the story to see how the ad got dropped. All of these people were playing games. They know what's moving behind that curtain, and they won't speak on it because they know they'll be speaking about their own actions or about the actions of their own friends and family members and strangers. They would have to call all of them out, or they would have to call themselves out, and they won't do that, so they remained silent. The world has been caused to be desensitized about it. The world has been caused to not care. The world has chosen to not care. It's like I said in the Yay Not Crazy song, they are quiet about these babies. All of this is also tied to one of the so-called holidays being that people accepted that these days are actually holy days. They are not. Most of these so-called holidays all come with a sinister, dark backstory. The one I'm referring to is Christ's Mass, or the Christian Massacre, or the Christian Mass, or the gathering of the Christians, or the gathering disguised as a gathering of Christians, but it's actually a reenactment of gatherings that took place with people who are the Mushrikeen, or those polytheistic people who are not living in alignment with Elyon, or Allah, or the God of Isa, the God of Yeshua, the God of Moses. They were worshiping the fallen, Satan. They were trapped in Satan's claws, also called Baal, and they would look out and say, Baal or El is coming, and that El was Satan, or Beelzebub, or Santa. And so they were saying, here comes Santa. Here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus, right down Santa Claus Lane. Iblis in the midst, him and all his angels are fooling y'all again. Bells are ringing, children singing, all is merry and bright. So lay your offerings and say your prayers, 'cause Santa Claus comes tonight. Children get sacrificed to Baal and their family. Balenciaga not just no product. They following Sammy. Don't fall for the whammy of the scapegoat. Probably planned it, knowing everybody who spotted it would just try to ban it. Then it's just a matter of time before they try to rebrand it. Get somebody like Nicki Minaj to come model their panties, like Rihanna with Fenty, the savage exile of the Tamla mans. We are standing in the pot of the god of this planet. Saint Nick, god of the Canaanite tribe of Dan, and it's obvious it's that time again for the rising of Samson, but now he's more powerful, advanced, and Delilah's enchanting could never stand a chance. He gon' step with a Bible in hand, and they slap boxing with God, Allah, Subhanahu wa ta'ala, without they phalanges, and he came with them clouds and it's raining flames on the synagogue of Shaitan for the crimes on humanity. For all the innocent civilians who died by the hand of these Luciferians and everybody who stand with them, I want their bodies in Jahannam for all the souls they sold when they vowed and took obligation to misguide the nation for the sake of getting endowed with the Grammy. Here he comes, Santa Claus. Light the fire. Baby's lost. They've been missing. Mr. President involved. Can you tell me, is it logical to think that they got cameras on the walls, on the halls, on the streets of every corner to keep tabs on all the trappers, but these children get kidnapped and they be asking y'all to catch them, like them satellites for NASA, not advanced enough to track them. Amber alert us for why. Please overstand. Your government hand in the dirt so they quiet. They got technology that can scan the whole earth from the sky, but can't find a vehicle that literally a person described. See, QAnon was trying to tell you, but they purposely got inside it and infiltrated them, reversed their work, and just lied. Human traffic is not a conspiracy, it's a business. Epstein wasn't shit but a fall guy for them bigwigs. Most of these celebrities either did this shit or they witnessed it. That's 90% guilty. The 10% is innocent. And what do you think it means when they say trick or treat on Halloween? And what do you think them things under the Christmas tree symbolically represent? All of the children were killed or got locked in boxes, depending on which god was dropping in. Hanging up stockings meant that they was laying out offers for Baal and his fleet. Why do you think they depicted Santa as a pilot? Because he was obviously the leader of the people who fly. And it's even illustrated when they show you that he's a god with some wings, like Baphomet and Malek. And you can go now to Bohemian Grove, and you can see that it's so, that the owl is king. And see, the owl is just symbolic of some powerful beings, the Nephilim, the fallen angels who devour your seed. The surface of planet Earth is a farm, and guess who the crops? Make you think of all them babies they fed to the crocs. Makes you think of all them babies they fed to the cops. Makes you think of all them babies they fed to the doctors. Human beings is being hunted, and your government knows. And your government got a covenant with devils and Sheol. I don't know what it's going to take for people to finally wake up and stop thinking Satan is some shit that everybody made up. No, they're here, and they've been in the shadows for a while. They told you in Revelation the dragon wants your child. I'm going to read for you where I got that line you just read from. That's a reference to Revelation chapter 11 as I extracted an allegorical meaning from that chapter. Revelation 12, Dragon and Child. The woman, the child, and the dragon. Now a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars. Then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. And another sign appeared in heaven. Behold, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 diadems on his heads. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. She bore a male child, he was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and his throne. Then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. Satan thrown out of heaven. And war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world. He was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Then I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, "Now salvation, and strength, and the kingdom of our God, and the power of his Christ have come. For the accuser of our brethren, who accused them before our God day and night, has been cast down. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they did not love their lives to the death. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time." The woman persecuted. Now when the dragon saw that he had been cast to earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. But the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time, from the presence of the serpent. So the serpent spewed water out of his mouth like a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. But the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the flood from which the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring, who keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. The most important thing to pay attention to is the repetition of the dragon. The dragon is called the devil. He's called Shaitan. He's called Baal. He's called Beelzebub. That doesn't mean that's his actual name and tone. It doesn't mean you are referring to one person. If you notice, when I speak of Baphomet, I also add on that he has a fleet of beings with him to help you understand that there's some plurality here. And so here is the last line of the last verse of the song. There's a way to defeat him. Only thing is we don't know how. Rebellion. Guess we didn't know till now. This is to say that we, the people, have to rebel against these beings. We have to stand up and actively war with these forces within and without ourselves. Those 2 forces I mentioned earlier, the Lama, lamb, and the Saba, satyr, goat, are still at war. That spell of sleep or sabak or Sabbath, which means in Hebrew to desist or to rest, that was casted on the masses, has to be broken, and people have to stop wandering around in the land of Nod. They have to start wondering or asking questions again, that they might find their way. Ask, A-S-K. Ask, seek, knock. Ask, and the answer shall be given unto you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and the doors shall be opened unto you. Observe and remember my book called Why. That's the question. What are the 7 W's? Those 7 W's are as follows. Why? As my book called Why is a question or a crying out to the divine, asking humbly for an answer. It is also an answer within itself, a hidden message. The answer to that crying out is hidden within the letters of the word Why. Using the acronymic encryption, Y becomes We heard you. We, your spiritual family, heard you crying out. Yes, we heard your voices. Yes, we heard your soul cries. It's time that you hear ours. Our sheep or lambs know our voices. We have not forsaken you. You are able to realize that we have not forsaken you, as you can still go to the hospital and hear the cries of a mother, and the cries of her newborn baby shall follow. Human beings are still being born. Your creator, your yielder, the universe from whence you came and that you are a part of, has not given up on you. Nature has not given up on you. She still loves you. God has not forsaken you, Earth family. That's why all of these messengers have come. That's why I'm here. There is still time. And so, reader, now you can see that the book I called Why, which was my first book, holds the frequency of a call and response. You can even see in the cover art that there is a portal opening with new life or new water coming into the world. Over my shoulders, you can see a yellow snake, deceased. What does this mean? This means that you will begin to surpass the solar plexus, yellow, and you will happen upon your new earth, the heart chakra, green. You will travel past the yellow, and so I depicted that the yellow has passed. You will learn to walk on water. You will understand the meaning of walking on water like never before. This was never a literal meaning. When it comes to those who think Jesus literally walked on water, all you have to do is simply ask them if they believe in Jesus. If their answer is yes, and they're saying he performed mysterious works, including that of walking on water, then they should be able to walk on water also, as it stated in Scripture, John 14:12. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. The chances are they aren't able to do it. So does that mean that nobody is worthy and that nobody really believes in Jesus or God the Father? I won't say that. I will say it's not a literal story, and it's referring to the activation of that which is called the Merkaba, meaning a thing to ride on, or a cart, or a ship. That ship is referring to the wheels or points along the spine called the chakras. With a higher understanding of the elements, the water and the air or the wind, you will still be able to activate your Merkaba, or walk on water, or go from land, a solid state, onto the water, the liquid state, and onto the air, a gaseous state, to become like gases, Jesus, meaning you become elite, enlightened. You will take the straight path up the spine, up to the crossroad, the heart chakra, which is the para, mid, pira, fire, mid, center, middle. Matthew 7:13 through 14. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Because strait is the gate, and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. This is literally the description of a pyramid, even a sociological pyramid, where there are few at the top and many at the bottom. Matthew 14:27 through 31. But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid, and began to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand, and caught him, and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt? Peter was not of the spirit of the ruach, or the ruh, meaning the knowledge. So he didn't possess the knowledge necessary to navigate. Let's look at the etymology of that word, navigate. Navigate etymology. Late 16th century. In the sense, travel in a ship. From Latin, navigat, sailed. From the verb navigare. From navis, ship, agere, drive. So he, Peter, stepped out of that ship, or comes out of the solid state, but could not navigate. He was too heavy. Peter means rock or stone. Rocks and stones do indeed sink when placed in water. Navi, water, gate, walk. He, Peter, couldn't walk on water as he had fear of that spirit or the wind. So he went back down into the liquid state and made his way back to the ship to go back to the solid. He did not become a supreme grand master. He didn't rise up beyond the heart chakra. He went back and rested. He fell into sabbats. This breakdown can help you understand why Peter is called Satan by Jesus, because Peter, meaning rock or stone, was too heavy, and he opposed the law of the divine. That vine you climb to ascend in frequency. Qualify the statement that many are called, but few are chosen. Why is the word lama in Hebrew? You have not been forsaken, and will not be forsaken if you remember to not fall asleep. Sabak, Sabbat. Recall the message that was left here for you in the Bible in the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verse 41. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. Recall the context of that scripture, that the disciples, those who were being taught discipline, were being told not to fall asleep. They were being told not to rest. Sabbat, sabak. The spirit is willing. This is meaning that the higher you, or your high you, Yahayu, meaning O living, has, when activated, the willpower, or the power of will. However, the flesh, the lower you, is weak. When you are led by the body, not the soul, you have fallen into temptation. When the temptation conquers your being, you will at that point have a body that opposes God or your higher you. You will no longer have the body of Christ, or the Christ body, soul, activated. In its place will exist the body of Satan, the temple of Shaitan, temptation, temptation, temple of Shaitan. This is the secret meaning of Baphomet. When you take that name, word, and you spell it backwards, you will see 3 abbreviated words. Those words are Tem, Op, Ab, temple, omnium, hominum, pats, Abba. These words are Latin words that say, Father of the temple. The temple is the body. Baphomet is the Father, Abba, Baba, or the God of the body. The soul, or the anointed being, as it's commonly known to be, is the body of God. Human beings will have to choose which force they will align with. We, the messengers, have only been able to advise that human beings don't allow for the body to win or to conquer. We've advised through all of the exoteric teachings of both old and new that human beings don't allow lust to dominate the spirit. That is where the bulk of the corruption has come from concerning humanity. Many perversions have arisen due to the conquering of the soul by the flesh, the body. Romans chapter 8, verse 7 through 11. Because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God. But ye are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if so be that the Spirit of God dwell in you. We must come out of the darkness. We have to prepare a way for the new world order that we, the people, are responsible for. We have to fight for the true light. They, who are the dark ones, are preparing to fight to revitalize the age of darkness. We, the elect, cannot allow them to succeed. Their age of darkness, or their AD, is already fallen, and they know it. Another way to see that same AD, Anno Domini, is as an announcement of who is still in control of the whole world up to this point in time. He that was still in control is called Bab, or Set, or Shaitan. That is the Lord that they, who laid out in the statement, the year of our Lord, were referring to. Bab had their tower set up on the earth. This is the meaning of Babylon. Isn't this good news to hear that Bab's pylon is fallen? Is fallen? Revelation 14:8. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. The Hollywood released a movie on February 4th, 2022. 2/4/2022 equals 2 plus 4 equals 6. And 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. And that 0 is the letter O, the 15th letter of the alphabet. 1 plus 5 equals 6. 666. And that movie was called Moonfall. This alludes to the fall of the moon cycle. Note that Set is also represented as a moon god, as in Sin, an actual god that appears in ancient Mesopotamian recordings. The 6,000-year rule of the beast is up. We're currently in that godly year, the 7 year, 2023, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3, and the sun cycle is heating up. The moon cycle, or the time of Luna, meaning moon, a time where the world was ruled by lunatics, time of the moon, the crazy, disorderly time or age, is already over. The moon is also referred to as, in secret, Halal or Hilal. Hilal is the Arabic word for a crescent. This is where the Islamic symbol for the moon comes from. They, the shadow elite, put the five-pointed star in that symbol to represent Halal, who is also known as Baphomet. That Islamic symbol was used to confuse people. When you look at the Islamic symbol of the star and crescent, you can see that the star is on the wrong side of the moon. Stars are much greater in size than the moon, and therefore you will not be able to see that star from Earth unless the moon wasn't behind that star. That five-pointed star is symbolic of the 5 P's alluded to by the 5 pillars of Islam. Profession of faith, Shahada, the belief that there is no God but God, and Muhammad is the messenger of God, is central to Islam. Prayer, Salat. Muslims pray facing Mecca 5 times a day, at dawn, noon, mid-afternoon, sunset, and after dark. Alms, Zakat, fasting, Psalm, pilgrimage, Hajj. Yet the actual 5 P's, as Dr. Malachi York teaches in his book, The Holy Tablets, that the organizers of the religion of the Order of Luna, the moon, Yemaya, or Yahar, or Baphomet use are as follows: polytheism, politics, psychology, philosophy, penal prison punishment. These 5 P's form the pentagram, the symbol those being used to carry out their works by way of their god or guide, called Zuen or Suin or Sin, who is tied to, in tone, Diana. Diana is the goddess of the moon, whose symbol is also the crescent moon, as in Baphomet's. Baphomet is connected to the word or name Sophia, meaning wisdom. Sophia is also the name of the woman who claims to have been the original author and the creator of the movie called Matrix. The Matrix. Many people have even suggested that she is the oracle character in the movie, a character who perceivably lives up to her name as she mysteriously offers words of wisdom, as well as insightful advice to the main character called Neo, an anagram of the word one to emphasize that the character is the one who will escape the jaws of the Matrix, a deceptively blissful yet grave simulation guarded and ran by artificial conscious beings called Sentinels, and that he will free the minds of the human beings who were trapped in that falsified reality. Sophia's whole name is Sophia Stewart. Sophia, wisdom, steward, guardian. I myself would hear people mention this lady throughout the years, and there was wonder about who she really was and if she might be a key to this whole game playing out in this world we're experiencing. There eventually came around an audio-oriented app that I mentioned earlier on called Clubhouse. She was invited on a certain number of times. I attempted to make contact with her on 3 of those occasions. The first time she got on the app, she was set to speak on an evening at 7 p.m. I remember taking a nap prior to that event as I planned to have ample energy to be able to properly gauge her in the spirit. My alarm went off at 6:30 p.m. and I was up and prepared for the event. As soon as 7 p.m. comes around, the whole app seemingly glitches. I thought my Wi-Fi connection might have been interrupted somehow, but that wasn't the case as my computers and all other devices were still connected and they were all working just fine. I kept rebooting my phone as well as the Clubhouse app itself. Nothing worked. Turns out there was a technical problem with the app itself, and so she was not able to speak with the people. The second time around, I was unaware that she was on the app, and so I missed that one because I joined that call at the last minute and had no time to speak with her. The third time came around, and I just so happened to stumble across that event on the app. There were already people who were there asking her questions and receiving answers. I waited my turn. When I finally had the chance to speak, I spoke to her in the spirit and asked that she receive what I was saying with her spirit. I explained to her about how long I've been trying to get in contact and communicate with her. I explained about all of the glitches and the holdups and all the coincidental happenings that led up to that moment of us finally being able to share words. I explained to her briefly about who I am and why I'm here and why I am and how I came to be and how that character called Neo is me. I opened the doors to the plans I have for the future concerning my becoming a celebrity in order to be able to send out the powerful shockwaves that are necessary for the impact of true light to be made on a grand scale. She listened, but she did not hear me in the spirit. She responded dismissively, saying there was no need for me to be a celebrity. Just believe and focus on positive things and all of these other statements that the spiritual community people tend to make to fill in the gaps. Of course, this caused me to scratch my head a little bit. I had already been unimpressed by the teachings of hers. I was not and still have not been able to see what it is or was that she teaches that the Matrix didn't cover either implicitly or explicitly. When the fourth Matrix movie came out, called Matrix Resurrection, she advised people not to watch it, saying it had nothing to do with the actual purpose of the original idea, and they were just throwing things together with no story. However, when I watched the movie, it actually made 100% sense to me, and I was able to follow along. The bottom line is, I do not feel like people I do not feel that people like Sophia Stewart are actually woke. I think people like her only play the part of being awakened. And if there's true wisdom to be expressed about this matrix, either she doesn't fully understand it or she does and she is not revealing it. Because if one had never heard of Sophia Stewart and they only happened upon the Matrix movies, they could still walk away with a deeper understanding about the world they exist in. The fact that she was unable to receive me also adds to this conclusion of mine when it comes to her. But this part of the book is not meant to demonize her, the person. This part of the book is meant to explain how there are events that appear as mere people, that if people who are seeking light are not careful, can throw a seeker off and pull them into a paradigm of thought that doesn't actually serve them. This is why it's important to me that I point out to you that the name or word Sophia is actually translated to the name or word Baphomet when you use what is known as the Abash cipher, Asmani. The Abash cipher, sometimes referred to as the Abash code, was a code that was created to hide messages using the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. To date, people also use the cipher to encode the English alphabet also. The key to cracking the code is to be aware of how it's applied. The code works by writing out the alphabet in its original order. For example, if you were to use the English alphabet, you would write out the foundation for your key as A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. You would then write them out another line with the same letters in the reverse order. Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. So simply, if we were to write out Baphomet with the Hebrew letters, we would end up with Bet, Pe, Ve, Mem, Taf. If we were to use the Abash cipher on that word, we would end up with Shin, Vai, Pe, Yud, Aleph. That word forms the Siptya, which is the word Sophia. Baphomet, being of the lunar or the moon, is not a fast enough way of thought for the day and time we're in. Do not be fooled by the association of Sophia or Baphomet with wisdom. The wisdom of Sophia, or Sophia's wisdom, is truthfully the biggest mystery of all. Therefore, it was kept in the dark, and the world has been unaware of that divine true light. It is this being of darkness called Sophia that has been pushed forth as the preeminent wisdom of all wisdom. This being Baphomet who appears with the hindquarters of a beast, goat, a hermaphroditic torso of a human being with the head of a beast, goat. The biggest issue with that being is that the head is yet an animal, and so most of the being is an animal. This is what happens when the false light takes over. The animalistic nature of the human being becomes dominant, and that human being is led further into darkness, perceiving that darkness to be the true light. But it is the light of the moon, the lesser light, and not the greater light of the sun. The people who are sucked into this deception are bound to go backwards by night. They will not be able to come forth by day. Sophia fell from the higher ranks. Sophia fell from grace. She set up this lower world, which yielded the demiurge world of chaos and disorder. The demiurge, meaning the demi, semi, or half of beings, of human beings, that worked off of human urges and impulses, without a shadow of a doubt, must be conquered. Human beings will not be able to ascend without becoming light beings fully, abandoning the animalistic nature altogether. Come out of her, my people. Turn away from Lilith, another being associated with Sophia of the dark world. This being Lilith, her name meaning night creature or night walker or belonging to the night, is one who feeds off of the lust of human beings. These fallen angels know in their hearts that they've fallen, and instead of correcting their own error and rising above their iniquities, they would rather cause all others to be in error with them. Just as it was written in the Holy Quran that Iblis fell and was of the lowly, being that he was of the lowly and was casted out thus, he went on to make a deal with God, Allah. That deal included a statement that he, Iblis, would cause mankind to be in error also. I don't want you to see Iblis as a mystical singular entity. I want you to know there are countless beings that hold the frequency of Iblis, including beings likened unto and related to Lilith, the night beings. Do you see? The whole world was deceived. There was in the beginning, as it was recorded to be, the beginning of a new era, the Amen or the Amun, which was the hidden one. That name was coupled with the word Ra, meaning the sun or the light. That sun or light represented purity and ascension. That ascension was to take place within what that ascension was to take place within so that it might be reflected unto the world without. There was a time when the most of the people were indeed people of the sun or Ra. They had their crowns atop their head, which was symbolic of the capstone that allowed for the glow or the hue to be emitted. These people were, the most of them, enlightened peoples who moved not off of impulse and lust as they understood the dangers of doing so. They clothed themselves fully and became the Elohim, or the Neteru, or the heavenly host. The people who followed them sought out to be like them, or made in the image after the likeness of them, the Elohim. They too clothed themselves and understood why it was important to behave in a godly manner, as opposed to an impulsive animalistic manner. Their clothing was not put on because of shame. Their garb, that all-white garment of righteousness, was one of composure and power. There then came a time of rebellion, as some of the beings of that new era chose to do away with the ways of the godly or highly ones, and they became of the lowly. They took off their clothes and left the communities of righteousness, called the Gardens of Eden or the terrestrial paradises. As they journeyed or fled into the distant lands, they each stripped away their clothing and allowed themselves to be consumed by the forces of lust, pleasure, and desire. They engaged in orgies and Kama Sutra with the animals and even with children. They had all become corrupt, meaning their core, which is their heart, had been ruptured. There was evil in their hearts, and so in their minds was found evil also. Genesis 6:5. And God saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. They set up a separate world among the distant lands and became the wanderers in the land of Nod. The word Nod in Hebrew means to wander. These beings who fled, the word Nud in Hebrew means to flee, began to worship a new deity under a new way of life, and that new deity was called Lilith, as she belonged to the night light, the moon, called Luna. This new deity encouraged these people to practice nudity. The lesser part of their being took over. They were consumed by darkness. The world you are in now was built by the descendants of these lost people, the wanderers of the land of Nod, or Wanderland. We, the messengers, are calling you once again out of this matrix, out of the darkness, out of her, or out of Hara, which is the bowels of the body or the gut. Come up out of her. We are calling for you lost angels and fallen angels to be renewed. Recall the events involved and surrounding the celebrity who was called Black China. Black China emerged from the black into the white and was transformed or renewed in front of the masses. Her real name is Angela Renee White. Renee means to be born again or renewed. Renee, renewed. I'm releasing all negative energy that is holding me back. Angela. She was able to realize that the association of Baphomet with the beast, and that therefore the tattoo that she had of Baphomet was literally the mark of the beast. I'm bringing this up to point out that the realm is expressing that the reversal of the mark of the beast is in progress, and it's just like I have been explaining to the masses. This year, 2023, is the year that people, if they are to open their eye and look, will be able to see a lot more popping off around the harlots of Hollywood. Here are more of decoded breakdowns of that event called Black China. Black China's mother, Shalana Hunter. Shalana, Selena, Se Luna, See Luna, or Behold Luna, or Behold the moon, which that word moon is Luna. That brings you to Lena, meaning light. Luna, lesser light. Hunter, one who hunts. The lesser light, Baphomet, one who appears with the moon symbols. Sophia, Lilith. Black Jenna is turned into white Jana. Jenna, as in jinn, a type of being usually associated with evils, begins with evil beings who roam in the lesser realms and are also referred to as imps. And Jana, Aswini, technical difficulties. All right, where was I? Hunter, one who hunts. The lesser light, Baphomet, one who appears with the moon symbols. Sophia, Lilith. Black Jenna is turned into white Jana. Jenna, as in jinn, a type of being usually associated with evil, beings who roam in the lesser realms, and are also referred to as imps. And Jana, as in the Arabic heaven or paradise or garden. Here it shows a photo of Black China being baptized. She goes from the state of the jinn to that of an angel or jinn, where she comes with the good news, the etymology of the gospel, instead of the ghost's spell. And the light, the laser, was used to delete Baphomet from her temple. She denounced the demiurge and gave thanks to the God of the true light, reclaiming her angelic self that her mother said was taken by the Church of Satan, called by the commoners the Illuminati. This is to signify the importance of reclaiming your soul over your body. She went on the Tamron Hall show to speak more on her transformation. Tamron Hall, day exclusive. Tam, twin. Ron, ruler. Day, light. Exclusive, exo. Who are the twin rulers, where one is dealing with the exo light that is outside of the self, and the other dealing with the eso light that is inside the self? You will only be able to make these connections with an esoteric and exoteric understanding to be able to know and see the difference clearly. That is the ear or air that you have to be able to hear. I have therefore called this ear the third ear, as it is an ear that operates beyond two ears we as human beings possess. Yet that ear is still an ear that hears on both sides from twin paradigms. Those twins are named exoteric and esoteric. Exalt, Eric, exo. Hold in high regard the external ruler outside oneself, without, not within, God who is to be called on for aid. Exalt Eric. Eso, hold in high regard the eternal ruler inside oneself, within, not without, God who is to be summoned from inside. Matthew 6:24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and Mammon. Remember, Mammon brings you to the word money, which brings you to the word Mona, which means moon. Black China called out to thank God, which was Exo, one of the twin rulers. The point is, Baphomet is falling right alongside Babylon, because Baphomet is Babylon. Come out of the Black China, Jenna status, and come into the Angelica renewed, white status. Come out of her, my people. I have been traveling for a long while, going from door to door. I knocked 3 times, loud enough that you might hear it wherever you are in your temple. You will know that it is me because you will feel the need to open your door. That knock is a call. You might feel the need to call out. You will feel the need to say the words aloud in question form. Who is it? The answer is in the question if you read it backwards. It is who. Who am I? I am who I am. And you know who. You may just not remember. Yet when I respond and say, open, says me, as I am the opener, if the door remains closed and you have no time for me, I will not bother you. I will carry on. Why? Yes, we heard you, lambs, crying out as the wolf approached the herd, or the herd. We heard your cries. Now can you hear the voice of the shepherds as we approach with the staff in hand, which is that punctuation symbol that is known as the question mark? That is the question you will answer with your actions. Our sheep, lamb, know our voices, as I have stated earlier. Do not feel bad that I use the word sheep, as I too am a sheep, or a lamb, or a scientist of the realm, one who is humble enough to hypothesize and to wonder as opposed to wander, so that I might find the answers, so that I never have to wander amongst the lost. I can know the truth and be made free. So can you. So as I knock 3 times, you will know that it's time to answer. You will hear 3 knocks on the temple, and you will cast down your fishing poles and your saws and your hammers and your hatchets, and you will pick up your cross, and you will carry on with me. 3 knocks are all it takes. 3 is the mystery of the Great One: awareness, wisdom, power. Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes, thrice great. Faise One, Phase 1, Sword of Resolution, the separator, separator of good and evil. Matthew 25:31-46. When the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all of the holy angels with him, then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory. And before him shall be gathered all nations, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. John 10:27-28. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. It's time for change. Time is change, or the interval over which change occurs. It's impossible to know that time has passed unless something changes. You can feel time speeding as this world goes from the darkness or the slower frequencies into the light, which is the faster frequencies. Michael said it best in his song title, Remember the Time. I was just talking about this today. Don't forget about the time. What'd you say? Just like the white rabbit, You too are to observe time as you are in the year 2023, the year of the rabbit. Pay attention to time. Time is one of those concepts that give people, if they're willing to pay enough attention to even just the idea of the phenomenon, an inside look at this mysterious reality that is referred to as our consciousness, interacting with this conscious realm that we call the universe, or at least the observable universe. The observable universe is everything that we can feel, everything that makes it to our senses through taste, smell, touch, hearing, and seeing. The five senses that all fall up under the feeling umbrella that says some type of information is being detected by us. There are different parts of our body that will help us detect and then interpret that information in different ways. It's all about what can be detected and felt, and then that information that's detected can go on to be interpreted. And that's how we make observations of this universe. Hence, one of the reasons it is called the observable universe. When you have the scientists speaking in terms of that observable universe concept, they're usually only really speaking about that which they can account for of this universe as a whole. The blunder is that they tend to discount the beyond the universe idea, or the dark matter or black matter idea, as it is taught that dark matter is this unique type of matter that accounts for about 90% of this universe. And they also teach that that so-called dark matter is deemed to be nearly undetectable. The reason for that lack of detectability is the lack of emission of light from that type of matter. When these scientists use even the most powerful telescopes they have access to, like the Hubble telescope, they're not able to visually observe that matter because it's not emitting light in any part of the electromagnetic spectrum. If there is any type of emission of that light on the electromagnetic spectrum, that emission is detectable and observable. Yet them not being able to see that type of matter is not and should not be mistaken as enough by itself to just go ahead and disqualify altogether the reality of a type of matter that does exist beyond this immediate observation that human beings have. That's why when I speak on observation, I want people to take note of the fact that even if you can't. Hasn't this been a component of every famous hero's journey story since the ancient days? Has it been made a rule of thumb that when one refuses to sync up with the vanities of the world through which they pass, they are in turn placed up on the cross? What hero is ignorant of that thumb's rule? What hero has not accepted and owned their own persecution as one point or another in their travels? Even those who set their own alarm clocks tend to loathe the sound of same. The sound of the alarm is not a comforting sound at all. Those who rumble through the dream worlds, playing here and frolicking there, whilst their temples rest and recharge, oftentimes find it frustrating when the frequency of the alarm clock rip past and pierce through the barriers of the states of consciousness. At first, the sound may bring about confusion and turbulence from the perspectives of the observers in the sleep states. The eruptive sound may be noticed as an occurrence of integration, firstly. The human being is dreaming about withdrawing $1 million from their bank, and the alarm system is the bank goes off, and the alarm system in the bank goes off. The bank is being robbed? The subconscious fills in the most intricate details of that type of experience. The human being, the main characters in their own dream, drops down on the ground in cooperation with the orders of the bank robbers. They ask themselves, why is this happening when they finally get to pull out $1 million and buy all the things they want to buy? What about the car they've always, and this is no pun, dreamed about? The luxurious house, the trips around the world, the impression upon others who would indubitably call out at the sight of this God on earth and exclaim, "Look at this person of importance. What status they have. We worship this person for their possession of this universally accepted currency alone. We will popularize them in our writings so that others may do the same. All hail this individual. Let us lift them up and praise their souls." As the dreamer lays face down on the marble floor of the bank, the alarm persists, the hatred for the sound of fueled with intensity by these thoughts. The dream fades as the feet of the bank robber trot around the dreamer toward the bank tellers, those of whom scream in terror as firearms greet their face. The dream of the dreamers dissipates, sound by sound, image by image, thought by thought. They, the human being, the dreamer, finally come to. They come to realize where the repulsive sound is actually coming from. Their stupid alarm clock that they keyed just destroyed their fantasy. That fantasy is now fading. The human being strikes the head of the alarm clock, killing it. The alarm clock, the messenger for which the dreamer, the human being, the person, the people have asked, has been silenced. It has been murdered. It has been shut down. And although it was only doing that which it was supposed to do, it, the alarm clock, they, the reminder, was made a subject of great hatred. Another reality exists simultaneously. There is a dreamer, one that is lucid, who is fully aware of their being asleep, and they look forward to the new day. They're dreaming of swimming in beautiful blue water, surrounded by multicolored fishes. The water is fresh and drinkable, even with the presence of other living beings pouring through the body of it. What a vibrant river! Waters of solace, waters of acceptance of the beauty of life. No wants or desires, just awareness of necessities. There are not many necessities. Pure life is simple. The sound of the alarm clock integrates as the chirping of hopeful birds soaring overhead. This is a great day. The dreamer, the human being, rises peacefully as their dream fades. They are grateful for their reminder. They are ready to take on the new day. They feel refreshed, and yes, they knew this time would come. They called out for a reminder, a helper unto them, as they are aware of the cycles of life. They know that sleep, the age of darkness, comes every now and again. They know it would not be wise to miss the alarm clock by being too deep in the dream realm to arise in time, or to delay the alarm by toggling snooze. Work is to be done in the new day. There is limited time. This human being knows this, and they accept the alarm for what it is. Today, this messenger brings good news, a gospel. Reader, I am yet another alarm clock. This is true, regardless of who is able to comprehend it. Yes, I am here to wake you up once again. Which dreamer are you? How many times has this story been recorded to have happened? How many words have been written with intent to guide the wanderers of the world so they may obtain and maintain the walk of the central pathway? Never was it received well, the truth. It didn't matter who the messenger was or who the messengers were. Popularity never meant righteous. Those who the masses wanted to be popular were also often times mistaken for the righteous or ones. Whether righteous or unrighteous, the masses oftentimes sought to tear apart the messengers of true light and venerate the messengers who are not of the true light. Remember, reader, that true light is not just information. It's not just a drawing of stored memories and ideas to be regurgitated and spewed forth as though those actions alone prove to be assertions of right wisdom. True light is a plan. True light is vastly and deeply calculated. True light is fluent and does not always shine how the observer may favor it to shine. Nonetheless, it is still the true light. Cast stones at the true light messenger, and you have not removed the truth of that being. Crucify the true light messenger, and the truth remains. Ignore the true light messenger, and act as though that messenger does not exist. The truth remains. See that if sirens ring out in its empire, sirens that warn of pending danger, sirens that promote the urgency of evacuation. Yet there are many, or most, who ignore the siren or make light weight of its ringing out. The urgency of evacuation does not vanish. If the many or the most decide to not take the necessary actions to ensure their own safety and survival, then their decision is their own to make. The wise messengers of the true light will ultimately allow space for those who decide to lag behind, to reject the truth. This is most wise. How so? If you plan a trip abroad to see many great sights, try new restaurants, practice and observe unique and foreign customs and cultures, and after having invited a friend to travel alongside you, they decline your invitation, wouldn't it be better to travel on without them than to endure what would come with bringing along someone who does not want to come with you? Have you ever traveled with someone who didn't want to be with you? There is no enjoyment in the coldness of their presence, is it? Keep that in your thoughts throughout this book. I am not saddened about rejection, isolation, hatred, exclusion, etc., because I brought myself to come to terms with the truth. The true light messengers before me have all suffered the same. Let them try to place me in categories that I've never belonged in. Let them try to turn the world against me. Let them try to stab me in the back. Let them try to shut down everything I say or do. They'll think this and that. Let them try to think quickly enough to compass me. They can't compass me. I don't begin with 1, 2, 3. I am of the high-born. I am walking through, not to, and I am always on the way. This concludes Hadusa Shug. Tawat for listening in. Wadu.